Two kingdoms. How did neighboring empires respond to the Israelites? After Solomon's death, the 10 northern tribes rebelled against the government in Jerusalem. These tribes founded a separate kingdom, Israel. Its capital was Samaria. The two tribes in the south founded the smaller kingdom of Judah. Judah's capital was Jerusalem. Although split politically, the people of Israel and Judah preserved the Israelite religion. During this time, large empires formed around Israel and Judah. As you read previously, the Assyrians and the Chaldeans built powerful empires. Their rulers wanted to control the trade routes that ran through Israel's kingdoms. Small and weak, the kingdoms of Israel and Judah felt threatened by their powerful neighbors. The fall of Israel. The Assyrians spread fear throughout the region. They forced conquered people to pay tribute. If they did not receive tribute, the Assyrians destroyed towns, burned estates, and carried away all valuable goods. Then they forced the conquered people to move to different areas to start new settlements. When the kingdom of Israel refused to pay tribute, the Assyrians invaded Israel in 722 BC. The Assyrians captured major cities, including the capital at Samaria. They wanted absolute control. So they forced some of the Israelites to resettle in the Assyrian Empire. Assyrians then brought in people from other parts of the empire to live in Israel. These settlers mixed with Israelites still living there. A new mingled culture developed. These people became known as Samaritans. The Samaritans adopted many of the Israelites' religious beliefs. They worshiped the God of Israel, read the Torah, and followed the Israelites' religious laws. The Samaritans, however, adopted religious practices that the Israelites did not accept. In time, the Samaritans and the people of Israel had little in common. Today's Judaism developed from the religious practices preserved mainly in the kingdom of Judah. The fall of Judah. The people of Judah survived the Assyrian conquests, but their freedom did not last. In 597 BC, the Chaldeans, under King Nebuchadnezzar, forced thousands of people to leave Jerusalem and live in Babylon, the Chaldean capital. Nebuchadnezzar chose a new king, a Judean, to rule Judah. At first, Judah's king did as he was told. Soon, however, he plotted to set Judah free. A prophet named Jeremiah warned that God did not want Judah to rebel, but the king refused to listen. The king led the people of Judah to revolt. The Chaldeans retook Jerusalem in 586 BC. Nebuchadnezzar then leveled Jerusalem to the ground. He destroyed the temple, captured the king, and took him and thousands of Judah's people to Babylon. In Jewish history, this time became known as the Babylonian Exile. When people are exiled, they are forced to leave their home or country. Psalm 137 in the Hebrew Bible describes the sadness many of Judah's people felt in living far away from their homeland. By the rivers of Babylon we sat and wept. How can we sing the songs of the Lord while in a foreign land? If I forget you, O Jerusalem, may my right hand forget its skill. May my tongue cling to the roof of my mouth if I do not remember you, if I do not consider Jerusalem my highest joy. Psalm 137, 1-6. What was the prophet's message? The prophets had an important role in Judean life. They offered words of hope in times of despair. At other times, the prophets explained that the people were not obeying God. They urged the people to change their ways and to make the world a better place. The prophet Amos said, "But let justice roll on like a river, righteousness like a never-failing stream." This means that all people should work for a just society in which everyone is treated fairly. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. quoted the prophet's words in the 20th century in his I Have a Dream speech. The goal of a just society later became a primary part of the teachings of Christianity and Islam. Jewish prophets also stressed the importance of leading a moral life and helping others in order to connect with God.